Have you ever found that the daily walks you once enjoyed don't feel as refreshing as they used to, leaving you with nagging aches or a sense that you're not really improving your strength or balance the way you hoped? For many people in their 60s and early 70s, walking has long been touted as the perfect low-impact exercise, a way to stay active without placing strain on aging joints. But perhaps you're discovering that even though you've been consistent about your walking routine, you haven't gained the leg power, endurance, or overall resilience you'd expect for the effort you're putting in. You might even be struggling with fatigue, stiffness, or boredom as you follow the same walking path day after day. Of course, walking remains valuable for general health, particularly for heart and lung function, but as the years progress, relying on walking alone may not be the most efficient way to maintain muscle mass, bone density, or balance. In fact, experts often suggest that older adults, especially in the 60 to 70 age bracket, consider reducing the time they spend on simple walks and instead incorporate two specific types of activity that can deliver more noticeable benefits for strength, stability, and even mental sharpness. Maybe you're thinking, don't doctors always recommend walking for seniors? The truth is, yes, walking is usually better than doing nothing at all. It helps with circulation, mild calorie burn, and can get you outdoors breathing fresh air. But if you've already built up a baseline of fitness, or you're looking to tackle certain age concerns like preventing muscle loss, reducing fall risk, or boosting bone health, then walking alone might not be enough, especially if you find yourself strolling at the same slow, comfortable pace every time. Your body can adapt so thoroughly that it's no longer challenged to grow. Over time, your muscles and bones might remain understimulated, which can gradually lead to weaker hips, knees, and ankles. This can pose real risks: a higher likelihood of stumbling on uneven ground, more joint pain from insufficient muscular support, and a frustration that daily tasks become more exhausting than they should be. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are practical adjustments you can make. Two key activities that, when added to or substituted for some of your walking time, can revitalize your aging body in ways that simple walking may not. For instance, consider your balance. If you trip easily over small obstacles or find yourself unsteady when stepping off a curb, you're dealing with a deterioration in stability that walking around the block won't fully address. The same goes for muscle strength in your legs, arms, and core. Walking is an endurance activity. It doesn't necessarily prompt your muscles to grow stronger once you've adapted. If you want more power or the ability to carry groceries upstairs without feeling winded, you need targeted exercises. So while it might sound unconventional to say, reduce walking, for many older adults, that's exactly what unlocks the time, energy, and focus to engage in activities that more effectively combat age decline. Let's take a closer look at these two options that can supercharge your fitness and well-being as you edge further into your 60s and 70s. A surprising number of people in this age group have never tried or even considered light resistance training. They might associate lifting weights with bodybuilders or younger gym goers. But in reality, resistance training can be adapted to almost any fitness level, and it's one of the most potent ways to preserve muscle mass, bone density, and independence as you age. Imagine being able to rise from a chair easily, climb stairs with less strain, or simply manage household tasks without that deep fatigue creeping in. Resistance training covers a wide range of possibilities, from using bodyweight exercises like squats and lunges, to handling light dumbbells or resistance bands, to more structured programs at the local gym. At its core, resistance training works by making your muscles generate force against a weight or tension that's slightly beyond what they're used to. This small but consistent challenge triggers a cascade of benefits. Your muscle fibers adapt by growing stronger and sometimes bigger, your bones receive signals to maintain or increase density, and your tendons and ligaments become more robust. Over time, your joints are better protected, you experience improved balance, and many seniors report feeling more confident in their movements. Even tasks like vacuuming or yard work become more manageable because your muscles can handle sudden shifts in weight or awkward angles without giving out. If you have concerns about safety or existing joint pain, you can start extremely gently. Seated exercises with small hand weights, partial squats holding onto the back of a chair, or using resistance bands can each provide enough challenge without overstressing your body. The key is to find a routine you can do 2 or 3 times a week, ensuring you give your muscles a day or two of rest in between sessions to recover and grow stronger. Consistency matters more than intensity. You might begin with just 10 to 15 minutes of simple moves, focusing on your legs, like seated leg extensions or standing calf raises, and your upper body, like light shoulder presses. As you progress, you can gradually increase either the weight, the number of repetitions, or the difficulty of movements to continue challenging your muscles. Many older adults are amazed at how quickly they see improvements. Steps become sturdier, posture straightens, and daily fatigue diminishes. The sense of achievement can also boost morale because you realize you're actively defending your independence rather than passively watching it slip away. In just a few months, you might feel more comfortable reducing your daily walks by 15 or 20 minutes if that frees up time for these more impactful strength-focused exercises. The second activity to consider is balance and flexibility training, which might include Tai Chi, yoga, or targeted balance exercises. One big risk of older adulthood is falling, a serious concern that can lead to fractures, hospital stays, or a loss of confidence that's hard to recover from. If you rely heavily on walking for exercise but never challenge your dynamic balance or range of motion, you may not be adequately protecting yourself against falls. Tai Chi, for instance, is a flowing martial art that emphasizes slow, controlled movements requiring you to shift weight carefully from one foot to another while maintaining a stable core. Practitioners often report significant improvements in stability, posture, and leg strength. Because the motions are low impact and deliberate, Tai Chi is especially friendly for aging joints. You don't need extensive space or fancy equipment, just comfortable clothes and a bit of floor room. Beginners can usually find community classes, online tutorials, or DVDs guiding them through the basics. Over time, the gentle challenge of balancing on one leg for a brief moment, or smoothly transitioning from one stance to another, builds deep coordination you simply don't get from walking in a straight line. Yoga, on the other hand, emphasizes flexibility, core strength, and mindful movement. While some yoga styles can be quite rigorous, there are also variations like chair yoga or restorative yoga designed specifically for seniors or individuals with limited mobility. In yoga, you might hold poses that engage your quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes, all crucial for leg power. Meanwhile, you develop better alignment, reduce stiffness in your spine and hips, and learn to breathe more efficiently. That focus on controlled breathing can enhance oxygen flow throughout the body, complementing the muscular benefits. Balance-focused exercises in yoga, like tree pose, or even using a wall for support, help you gain confidence in weight-shifting maneuvers. This can translate directly into everyday tasks, such as turning around in a tight space or stepping onto uneven ground without panicking. If you worry about looking silly or not having enough flexibility, remember that yoga instructors are used to modifying poses for different ability levels, especially in senior classes. By reducing your walking time slightly and dedicating it to these sessions, you put your body through a more diverse range of motion and encourage improvements that straightforward walking simply can't deliver. Perhaps you're wondering why anyone would need to reduce walking specifically rather than just add these new exercises on top. The main reason is the concept of energy budgeting. If you're already devoting a significant chunk of your day to walking, maybe an hour or more, and feeling too tired or pressed for time to do other workouts, you won't be consistent with strength or balance training. Also, some seniors find that prolonged walking inflames knee or hip pain, making them less inclined to try anything else that day. By scaling back the walking duration, say from an hour daily to 30 minutes, and using the remaining time for 2 or 3 strength or balance sessions per week, you can actually produce better overall results. This approach ensures you aren't overtaxing yourself. You can still maintain the cardiovascular and mental benefits of a walk, but you free up enough energy to incorporate muscle building or stabilizing routines. And because these routines often come with rest days in between, you might actually find your body recovering better and feeling fresher for those shorter, more focused walks. You end up with a balanced exercise regimen, a bit of brisk walking for heart health and circulation, plus the more specialized training that keeps legs strong, reduces the risk of falls, and extends your capacity for daily tasks. Another point some people raise is that they love the social aspect of walking. Maybe it's a neighborhood walking group or a friend they meet in the park. In that case, you don't have to give up the camaraderie or the scenic route. Instead, you might walk with your group 3 days a week instead of 5, freeing up 2 days to do short strength or balance sessions. Or you could incorporate some of the new exercises into your walk if conditions allow, like stopping midway to do a few standing squats using a park bench for support, or practicing some simple balance moves in a flat, safe area. The key is variety and making sure your legs aren't just coasting on the same repetitive motion. Over time, this variety helps preserve not only muscle mass, but also your body's ability to adapt to different movements, which is what truly lowers the chance of injury or a debilitating fall. If you're new to resistance training, you might wonder what weights to start with, or if you should just use your body weight. Some seniors do very well with a set of light dumbbells in the 5 to 10 pound range, plus a resistance band or two, with varying tension. Others might begin with purely bodyweight moves like sit-to-stands, where you repeatedly stand up from a chair without using your hands, focusing on controlled motions. You can progress by doing partial squats, lunges holding onto a stable surface, or small step-ups on a sturdy stool. Remember, any exercise that feels slightly challenging but not painful can help you build strength. If you're dealing with chronic conditions like arthritis, osteoporosis, or heart problems, check with a healthcare provider or physical therapist for guidance on safe modifications. Often they'll encourage a balanced program, letting you know which moves are safest, how many reps are ideal, and how frequently to train. Likewise, for Tai Chi or yoga, beginner-friendly classes can be found at local community centers or senior centers, sometimes offered at no or low cost. An instructor can help you adapt poses or movements to fit your range of motion and comfort level. One concern might be that these changes sound complicated or time-consuming, but in many cases you only need about 2 or 3 30-minute sessions of resistance or balance training per week to see noticeable gains. That's only an hour or an hour and a half total, which you can carve out by slightly reducing your walking schedule. The payoff can be enormous. Stronger legs, improved balance, and a body that feels more capable of handling the unpredictabilities of daily life. Even better, once you find a groove, these sessions can become fun or meditative. Some seniors actually find more satisfaction in the targeted nature of strength-building moves, reporting that they love feeling the muscles wake up after each session as opposed to going on the same predictable walk every single day. What might surprise you is how quickly the benefits appear. After just a few weeks of consistent sessions, you might notice that standing up from a low chair feels less like a chore, or that your knees don't twinge as much when you climb a few steps. Over a few months, you could find that you're able to squat further without discomfort, or hold a single leg balance for noticeably longer. These changes might sound minor, but they can profoundly affect your quality of life, especially as you enter your 70s and beyond. The fear of falling, the dread of stiff knees after an afternoon out, or the reluctance to pick up items from the floor can recede, replaced by renewed self-assurance. You may even decide to reintroduce more walking once your legs are sturdier, but in a more thoughtful, well-rounded routine that also includes the crucial aspects of muscle building and balance. On the subject of health benefits beyond the legs, remember that stronger muscles help regulate blood sugar better, can assist with weight management, and reduce the strain on your heart from carrying extra weight. Meanwhile, improved balance lowers stress because you're less anxious about stumbling on uneven sidewalks, especially if you still enjoy traveling or visiting friends in different neighborhoods. Balanced practice has also been linked to better posture, which can alleviate neck and shoulder tension. Some older adults find that once their posture improves, they breathe more comfortably, especially during light exertion or conversation. These secondary perks reinforce that an integrated approach, walking plus targeted exercises, often yields far more than the sum of its parts. You might, however, encounter a mental or emotional block, feeling you've always relied on daily walks as your main or only exercise. Shifting that routine can feel risky, as though you're giving up the safety net you believed was essential to staying active. The key is recognizing that reduced walking doesn't mean quit walking. It's about rebalancing your approach to fitness. If your typical routine is a 1-hour walk every day, you might cut it to 30 or 40 minutes for 3 or 4 days a week, leaving 2 or 3 days open for the new elements. On those exercise days, you might do a warm-up walk of 5 or 10 minutes, then transition into a 20-minute session of gentle strength training or a guided yoga video. Ease in at a comfortable pace, pay attention to your body's signals, and remain flexible in adjusting to how you feel. Over time, as you build confidence, you may tweak the ratio further, discovering that just a bit less walking frees up enough energy to see real progress in your legs' endurance and stability. Lastly, if you're in a living situation where walking is your only readily available physical activity, say you have no easy gym access or limited finances, there are still ways to implement these changes from the comfort of your home. Basic chair exercises or short online Tai Chi tutorials require minimal space. You can fill water bottles to serve as light weights for upper body strengthening if you don't have dumbbells. Resistance bands are relatively affordable and easily stored in a drawer. A single sturdy chair can act as a prop for balance moves, while a countertop can provide the stability you need for partial squats or standing calf raises. Creativity and consistency matter, far more than fancy equipment or expensive gym memberships. Overcoming inertia is usually the biggest hurdle. Once you commit to a routine, you'll likely find the novelty refreshing, especially when you recognize you're doing something more targeted for your legs and overall functionality. In the end, living your best life in your 60s or early 70s doesn't require extraordinary feats of athleticism. It does call for a mindset shift toward preserving and even enhancing your muscle strength and balance while you still can. Reducing walking slightly isn't about denying yourself a pleasant stroll. It's about acknowledging that the body craves diverse stimuli to stay robust. Even the best habit can lose its potency if repeated without variation. By weaving in those two key elements, resistance training and balance or flexibility work, you're giving your legs and your entire body the well-rounded challenge they need. You'll likely find that you can continue walking for enjoyment without it being your sole source of exercise. And the payoff can be substantial. Fewer aches and pains, a more confident stride, a sharper awareness of your body in space, and the freedom to engage in daily activities without feeling drained. If you've been on the fence about cutting back on your walks, consider this your gentle nudge to explore new frontiers of fitness. Seek out resources, perhaps a local class or a trusted online guide, and start small. Stick with it for a month or two, and let your body show you how beneficial these additions can be. Over time, you might come to see that letting go of some walking time was one of the smartest moves you could have made for your mobility, energy, and independence. Thank you for staying with me through this discussion on why you should consider reducing your walking habit and introducing these two powerful alternatives. If you found this perspective helpful, share it with someone else who might feel stuck in an exercise rut. And if you haven't done so already, think about subscribing or following, so you can stay updated on more tips and guidance tailored to living stronger and healthier well past the age of 60. Remember, it's never too late to adjust your routine and reap the rewards of a more targeted approach to movement. Here's to a future of firmer legs and steadier balance, one rep and one stretch at a time.